Hey everyone, welcome back to more Flesh and Bad, and this is going to probably be the last Zen video. So, very likely that Zen is going to be LLing, at least on Monday, and then I think Tegan was telling me that you can basically play him until Friday, so very little time left for Aurora here. I'm pretty sure that he managed to kind of reach the threshold of winning at least 3 Pro Quests, I think 3 Pro Quests this weekend. So, unfortunately, I wasn't one of the people who was able to do it, but I did manage to get 2 top 8s this weekend, so I'm pretty proud of myself for doing that. I think this list is quite solid, so I kind of wanted to make this video more as like a time capsule than anything. I just think that the hero is really cool. I think it's just a very enjoyable hero, and obviously one of my favorite decks that I think I've ever played across any card game. So, love our boy Zen. Very sad to see him go, but I'm also kind of looking forward to maybe just trying some new things out of the channel, seeing if I find any like new decks and stuff. But yeah, let's go ahead and go into my list. So I managed to get 2 top 8s at 2 different ProQuests this weekend. One was at a 24-person ProQuest. The other one was at a 19-person ProQuest. And I feel like this list is just very solid, very streamlined. And I like this list a lot. Most of the cards here are not going to be surprise, but I'll kind of talk about the notable ones. So all the combo cards I'm not really going to talk about. CNC E-Strike are fine. Sensor, obviously, like spicy card. I just really like the stat line in Zen. Just a 1 for 5 with a disruptive on hit is pretty good. And it blocks 3, so like very low opportunity cost for this card. And I think it's just like good into everything, kind of. Like you can find a card to name against pretty much every deck. It's kind of like Null Time Zone in that kind of respect. Like I feel like there's always something you can name that's pretty good with this. And a lot of your times your opponent will respect this like armor, maybe overblock it. Like I think that there's a lot of good value to this card. Notably for combo cards, I've also like cut down to just the singular breed. I'm kind of a big fan of. I do like having like a second breed sometimes, but I do feel like one breed is often more than enough. So it was kind of like the first thing on the chopping block when I was kind of like considering cards to cut. For the blues, I think I've changed like quite a bit over kind of like the course of my Zen history. So I used to be on like the Harmony or the Harmony Hunts and also like the Tiger Incants, but I feel like these blues are like very efficient at what they do, right? Because like any 0 cost blue and a transcend card goes resource positive, so you can do things like Mullen Key, like Breed Anger. With the 1 cost blues, the math gets a little bit more inefficient. So big fan of the 0 cost blues. I kind of changed my tune a little bit on them. I wasn't like a fan of them before because like it leads to some hands in like the mid game where you're basically just drawing like random blue plus 1 cost plus another 1 cost or something like, or 1 attack, right? But yeah, I'm a pretty big fan of this blue base, and it's also just pretty good into new as well. Only running 2 cosmics. I think the 3rd cosmic is often redundant, and then I think the rest of the cards are pretty self-explanatory. I did find room for a blue key unleashed, which is not a card I've run a ton of, but it's pretty decent blue when you're not running like the incant stuff. And yeah, let's kind of talk about this sideboard as well. So I brought in 2 Blanche, expecting a lot more Prism than I ended up seeing. I didn't play against a single Prism this weekend, so I basically never boarded this card in. For the Flicks and the Sync, these were both pretty solid. I like the 0 for 4 stat line on reacts in some matchups. Like pretty good into like random stuff, like especially with the blue Flicks and the red Flicks. You can find a lot of good equity into like random matchups like Fang, like just any like even the Mirror, like tons of good tons of decks that like blue Flick and red Flick are both good into. And then Wax On, obviously kind of like staple. Weak Slink, pretty good into Aurora and also just good as popper. And then also good into a popper as against Enigma. And then finally, 2 snags on the board. Snag, just pretty solid. One of the awkward things, which I'll kind of talk about briefly, is that I have to like main deck a snag in certain matchups, which I'm not super thrilled with. But I think that's like Snag is kind of like very okay, especially at a 2 of, and I think it just hoses certain decks like really bad, like new, and especially like the Arachnes as well. So yeah, let's kind of talk through some of the kind of like matchups. So the first matchup I want to talk about is like Florian. So this matchup's like a little bit awkward. The most awkward thing is I have to like main deck a Snag, and then this is kind of like one of the matchups I was talking about. But like Snag actually has like some surprising value into Florian. Like you can basically do it on like Felling, on a Plow, and you can like completely kind of hose them there. Pretty solid card, and it's just a blue, so it's like pretty low opportunity cost. We are running like a few more blues than I think normal. 31 versus like I think I normally run like 30, 29 or something. Yeah, but this like configuration is just very solid in Florian, very aggressive, and then Sensor is also like pretty solid card for just like naming random cards like Felling, Plow, etc. I ended up I think I went like 2-1 or 3-1 Florians this weekend. But unfortunately, I lost to a Florian in top 8, which does definitely sting a little bit. Yeah, but I think that's like pretty much the matchups I want to talk about. I also tried a different thing that Field of Flow suggested, which is to have different matchups for Aurora going first and going second. So for Aurora going first, I was running like 1 AB, just because you might need AB if you're on the back foot, is kind of like the logic. And then if I go second, I'm running Pouncing Paws just to kind of like unbrick hands. And I feel like that strat did work pretty well. I hadn't really tested it a ton beforehand, but like the Pouncing Paws, if you're going second, seems like it does do a pretty good job on bricking hands, especially if the Aurora opponent, which in most cases what they'll do is basically just like deny you filtering, because giving Zen the opportunity to block means that you go towards Transcend faster, which is just bad overall. So most good Auroras will just like play Electromagnetic Somersault, make an embodiment, Arsenal pass, and then you can't really do anything. Yeah, but I also just felt like the wax on wax stuff into Aurora is like not super necessary, and I think I won every Aurora game this weekend, so pretty happy with that overall. And yeah, this is basically the deck list. I think it's like just very solid overall deck. There's like a couple deck building concessions, but I think that the list is just very strong overall. And like I think that the only deck building concession is just running a Stag into Earth Heroes, which is not like really that bad in my opinion. Sometimes you can just make this like a 0-for-4 react at blue, which is like fine. So yeah, I basically wanted to kind of like stop talking about this list. I want to just get, one final game in on Zen, maybe even two, and just kind of see how we do. So yeah, let's go ahead and get into some games. All right, so we got a Bravo, which I don't think I've ever played before on the channel. Maybe I probably played at least against one Bravo. What do we want? Probably just cut some 2 blocks. Seems reasonable. And then the rest seems like fine with me. Oh, I need one more card. Seems fine. All right, so we got a chase aspect to start us off. Not sure what this equipment suite means. Probably fatigue. That's fine though. Get to set up an arsenal here. I think losing an aspect is fine. They have a CYB to start us off. It's a little bit annoying. Oh, we do just have Cosmic, so it shouldn't be too difficult to match up. All right, no, Cosmic is good. All right, sending in 6. Kind of annoying. Losing 1 chase aspect off the gate does feel a little bit bad, but not really a way around it. I think we're just setting 6 here. Underwhelming 6, but fine enough. Yeah, I'm wondering if this is Fatigue Bravo. Like, the Rampart does seem fatigued to me. All right, potentially signaling CYB here. Makes sense. So imagine they're probably just going to like Titan's Fist stuff for this and then gain a little bit of life. Sounds good to me. All right, no Transcend is a little bit unfortunate. But since they're like a CYB deck, I kind of just want to maybe get this reacted arsenal. Get an arsenal mauling instead, I think, is a little bit better. Yeah, we don't actually know like how many threats they're running, like Crippling Crush or whatever. It's been a while since I've like played against the CYB deck, I feel like. Yeah, it looks like they're running most of the blue auras here just to kind of deal with New, which makes sense. New is still definitely going to be a pretty popular hero. All right, another 6. Could easily be a pummel here. Pummel will suck, but not really a way around it, I feel like. I think I'll probably just hope they don't have it. If they do have it, what do we do? Could also just take this discard aspect and put the Cosmic back in the deck. Like maybe the actual correct answer here is just take this. All right, no pummel is probably good for me. Go ahead and overpitch a little bit here. I think we're just preserving our threat density a little bit. Because if they pummeled that, then we would discard aspect and then just still be able to send mauling. But like this is kind of fine, just keeping the Cosmic in the deck. It's basically our win con here. We also have 2 CNCs out of the way, which I think is probably a pretty big deal. First Transcend, but we haven't been able to use it yet. But we'll go ahead and Arsenal Pass. Okay, pretty good hands. All right, doing Go again. Probably following up with Fist, unless it's something else. Seems fine with me. All right, Fist again. It's the most efficient line we can do here. E-Strike is not like super efficient in terms of damage, but it is efficient in terms of deck size. And I do want to like Arsenal another Transcend card to try to space him out a little bit here. Can also double Transcend since it's Rising Sun, because we would be tucking a Transcend anyways. I could probably just start keeping this hand. I don't think they're going to get to the point where they're going to kill us. And I feel like taking a little bit of damage to like double develop out Chi is probably reasonable. All right, let's do Rising Sun, pass over, banish their CYB, which is also really good. Means that we're basically getting 5 value out of this, unless they CYB like right now. But even then, it's probably like 4 value. A-okay with that. Very early Passover, obviously quite nice in the CYB matchup. Okay, we do have a Cosmic for 15. Is that worth it? Questionably. It's not bad. We can do Kakara plus E-Strike plus Cosmic, I think. No, we can't do everything. I guess we'll just Arsenal E-Strike then. I feel like it's still worth it to probably just send Cosmic for 15 here, because it also means that when we preserve later on, we can preserve a Cosmic back and not lose like any value. I think this is okay. I was originally gonna like tuck the Chi there, but I think this still kind of works out. It seems like they're just gonna get that extra point of value off Red part, which makes sense. And then Fate as well. Still taking 7 here, and then having no cards in hand is quite nice for us. In general, I think CYB is unfavored into Zen, but they are going to actually like cover most of this, so pretty good from them. But we should have some pretty good tempo here at least. Ooh, very nice tempo. All right, so I'm going to be under the assumption that they're not going to be sending any damage at us, which means the Flick Flacks are definitely not ideal. Let's just double Transcend here, and then maybe like bottom Flick Flack, bottom Flick Flack to E-Strike to draw a card is probably the bet. Yeah, seems good. Might even play this Pouncing Key out this turn. Depends on what we got going on. Right. Double Transcend, gain our resources, sending Kakara. All right, seems like they maybe got another CIB here. Oh, just gonna use Tunic, also reasonable. Oh, Shelter as well. I am okay with Shelter being used not efficiently here. Then let's go ahead and I think, what are we grabbing here? So Swipe does make some, Swipe's not very good actually. I think I still just want random Arsenal, so maybe we just get a Breed just to like get a Chi in the deck, and then we make a Tiger on the back for the Pouncing. Yeah, I think I'm still committing in this line. I think there's also maybe some merit to like popping Pouncing Paws if they're just like not going to do anything, which seems like semi-likely. But they are still like running stuff like Crippling Crush, so keeping armor does make a lot of sense. Curious to see if they even left the Crippling Crushes in the deck. All right, follow up with Pouncing, and then get our E-Strike value here. Do draw card. Ooh, Path is a nice one. I think we struggled a little bit in the early game of this matchup, but then now we're just starting to see our Transcend, so it feels like we're in pretty good shape, especially with the levels here. Ooh, Hearthfind Doll, also pretty nice inclusion. I guess they're basically just getting 4 value off of this anyways. Or I guess they didn't even gain any life from that, right? So they're only getting 3 value. Happy with that. All right, so I think I'm going to pitch the Harmony here. I don't want a Harmony in this matchup just because I think it's a little bit risky to go for Banish in case we want another Cosmic. And what do we want here? Obviously, I have a chain under. Could just grab swipe. Swipe's reasonable. Yeah, swipe's fine. We'll find our we'll do buff. Sorry, buff draw. We'll find a chase eventually. We already used one chase aspect, which means that we're a lot less likely to draw it, which is like a little unfortunate. So they are using some of the crush cards in the matchup. Does make sense. Ooh, and it's also going to be a quick dodge turn. Okay. Seems pretty good. Probably going to get a decent amount of value out of this quick dodge. Nothing like crazy, but probably going to be able to maybe get the full 6. We'll see. They're not going to get the full 6 out of this. They're going to get like the full 5 functionally. Or if they're not going to use it there, that also is pretty fine for us, I think. So it maybe makes sense to give a 3 block here and then another quick dodge shards. Righteous Cleansing is also an interesting include. And then how do we want to navigate this? So we can send Biting Breeze in, which doesn't do anything. Alternatively, is we can like Arsenal Pouncing Key. I feel like sending CNC in does make a bit of sense. I like this Arsenal more than I like anything else. So get him 23, we have quick dodge out of the way. I think things are looking pretty good for us. Oh yeah, and these hands are lining up quite nicely. So go ahead and Biting Breeze here, and then we have the choice between preserving a Cosmic or preserving a Chase the Tail. I think that is an interesting choice. We also have 3 Maulings in the bin. Preserving Cosmic basically means we cannot lose, I feel like. But Chase just means that I think we win faster. I feel like the choice is pretty similar in terms of value proposition. We already have 1 Cosmic left. I don't think we need a second Cosmic. I feel like we need a Chase more than we need a Cosmic. Especially with the quick dodge out of the way, I feel like Chase gets a lot better. Let's go ahead and grab Pouncing in Arsenal. We can get Swipe, or we can get another 100 Winds. Kind of like Swipe, honestly. Yeah, Swipe seems fine. Let's go ahead and do Tiger Swipe. Then maybe just send CNC here. Depends a lot on what they do. But I'm really unfortunate that they played a CYB out earlier and I was able to pass over it, because I think that is a pretty big deal for us. Alright, seems like they're going to block my Tiger with the gauntlets. Interesting. I think they had the 1 floating prevention there. Not sure why they opted to cover that, but still get the 1 floating prevention here, so I guess it's kind of the same either way. Then I think we're just sending in the CNC. Having this Pouncing Key in Arsenal is like a little bit awkward, but I think it's still fine. They're not doing anything. We're going to run them out of cards eventually, I feel like. And let's start with Kakari here. We're probably going to finish on the Key Unleashed, which means what are we getting as our tutor target? Maybe not that 100 Winds we just bottomed. That would probably work. Let's grab that. Yeah, I think it's just that red 100 Winds. We do still have the blue 100 Winds if we need them later. But no real reason to rush in this matchup. We're going to kill them fairly slowly here. And we'll just play the Key Unleashed to get the full Shuko value. And it's probably demands at least 2 blocks from hand. Maybe react here or something. Also acceptable. Curious to see what the 2-card hand is here. Might just be another CYB. Probably make a decent amount of sense. Right, this hand is pretty okay, actually. Like a little bit awkward. But we can probably just sync maybe this Tiger Swipe and try to find like Chi or something better. Use a couple of reacts here, because we still just have the Zen Fridge, which makes it so that their first crush basically does nothing. And I think CNC is actually probably the better plan, especially if they're going to go on Arsenal here. So we'll start with Kakara. Definitely seems like a little bit of a boring game, but like also I don't mind CYB decks because I feel like they're pretty good for Zen, honestly. They just still have Crown Providence up for what it's worth, but like if they're blocking, then I feel like Crown loses a fair bit of value. Like if they're just trying to fatigue me. Because like what are they gonna do with the 5-card hand other than like Starstruck me, and I still just have this End Fridge to deal with that. So I feel like I'm in a pretty good spot here. It might even double CYB. That's also like a valid option. Seems like that's maybe what they're gonna go for here. Seems good to me. So they'll get a little bit of that life lead back. And looks like they're just passing. Very interesting. Let's go ahead. So we still don't have our chase aspects lining up very well. That's fine. Still just grab, like, swipe. Running out of swipes is a little bit suspect, but I think it's probably fine here. So we'll go ahead and just send efficient damage. Get through our deck so that eventually Cosmic will win us the game. Hopefully. Maybe not getting the second Cosmic was like a little bit greedy, but Chase is almost like a Cosmic, right? If you think about it. Very similar kind of like damage output, but like Cosmic is more suspect on whether or not you get to actually like resolve it. And finish on the E-Strike for buff. All right, 15 plays 23. Not too bad. All right, and this hand's also very good. And like we're still not able to unfortunately play Chase Aspect here, but it's still kind of fine. We might honestly just get like a blue 100 wins here, just because like that's probably the best case scenario for blue 100 wins. Yeah, I mean, just get it out of the deck, right? At this point. Oh yeah, and on the Winds of Eternity. I think that's fine. Don't really need to use any premium threats here, I think. Send in a bunch of 2 damage and makes it a little bit more kind of annoying for them to block if they want to. I'm not super focused on the misplay draw of this game because I feel like I could misplay this game into a victory, but I wonder if there was a misplay at some point. Maybe the misplay has just not been drawing Chase or Aspect. It's a pretty good misplay. All right, play out another 100 wins. I feel like the breakpoints here are pretty annoying though, for what it's worth. Big fan of what's going on. All right, finish on the wins. All right, last CNC is a pretty big deal. A little bit of a shame we have the pouncing key stuck in Arsenal, but fine by me. CYBs are not getting a ton of value here, I feel like. So, kind of okay with this. All right, we finally have a chase aspect line. The infamous Zen line. Grab our chase. We'll do draw go here, I think. I think I just want to get an extra Kakara thing, even if we don't draw blue. Like blue and red, I think we're pitching it regardless here. All right, cheese fine to pitch as well. So go ahead and do the chase aspect line, which is, you know, the bread and butter, which unfortunately we haven't just had line up. You need at least one of chase or aspect to get it to work, but still probably going to be fine here. I think we're fatiguing them more than they're fatiguing us at this point. Shelter seems good. I think we're probably going to get an opportunity here to try to play our pouncing key from Arsenal, which I think I'm going to just do. I feel like it's been stuck in Arsenal for quite a bit, so getting the 4 value here I think seems quite fine. Close chain, pass back. All right, and another very good hand. Yep, no reason not to play it. Gain a resource. We might honestly take the opportunity to pop Pouncing Paws here. We only have like very few combo cards left in deck, so I kind of think it's maybe just time to do it. We'll do Buff Go, since it's pretty likely that we're redrawing a Chi at this point with how thin our deck is. But our deck is still like far bigger than theirs is. And we still have one copy of Chase in Aspect left in the deck, I think. Because I don't think we still only have 2 in graveyard, I think. Alpha Impression, pretty good. And yeah, I think this maybe is an interesting kind of like time capsule game, just because like it kind of shows how Zen was not fatigable, or like I don't think you can fatigue like the way they're doing. You have to like actively disrupt and fatigue as opposed to like just blocking. Because if you're blocking against Zen, you're kind of losing. We get to send another 4 and 4, which I think will put them exactly to 1. Unless they have React and Arsenal, obviously, but even then, we're still kind of fine with that. Get a Rampart plus Tunic here if they want. Get an extra little point of value there. Not too bad. All right, put him to 2, which is in Kakara range, basically. All right, this hand is a little bit suspect, but probably ends up getting there. So I don't see a... Okay, they do have Crippling Crush, so maybe they do run Crippling Crush in this matchup, but I don't know if they're going to get the time to do so. Then we'll go ahead and send it with Kakara. Probably just play out the other Biting Breeze and try to Arsenal the Chase for next turn, because it's pretty likely that we're drawing into Chi at this point. All right, gaining that last CYB seems pretty good. But yeah, I don't think we're under any real threat of disruption here. All the CNCs are gone. They do have Crippling Crush, but they don't have the cards to cast it yet. So I think we're probably in the clear here still. I feel like my odds of losing this game are like, I don't know, like less than 1% at this point. Weirder things have happened though. All right, there's Cosmic, which we're probably just going to save for later. We can probably afford 2 Ancestral Harmony here, just because like we have the Cosmic in hand, so we know that we're not banishing it. And hitting a Censor is fine. Don't necessarily mind that. We'll get at least 2 value out of the Harmony, and we're still ahead on deck, so I think we're in fine shape. All right, resolve the last Chase Aspect. Arsenal Flick, which may or may not be relevant. And we'll just save that Cosmic for a little bit later, I think. We're all like almost out of steam, but like not really. Feels like Kakara is a hell of a weapon to have in the late game. Seems like maybe I have the last couple reacts here. Seems good. I think a lot of their stuff is going to be 3 blocks from here on out, so probably going to get a decent amount of chip in. Because we've seen most of the 0-for-4 reacts. Might have like one more shelter, I think. Okay, another 3 block is okay with me, so this might be hammer time for them. All right, unfortunately, we didn't have the Cosmic on this hand, but that's okay. Seems like they're maybe just going to pass back and try to fatigue us. Let's actually win Chakra first, just to get it out of our deck. Then we'll Kakara. Might as well get that +1 value there. No reason really not to. Yeah, what are we getting? We can get a Pouncing Key. Seems fine to me. We're almost at combo cards, but that's like still fine because we just have that 1 Cosmic left. And we still have Traverse up. We still have all of our armor, so like we're going to be able to just fatigue by damage here, I think. Plus chain. And they are out of life gain, fortunately. So that's very good for us. And we can end it on a Sacred Art here. Yeah, that seems good to me. Seems like a good way to try to close out the game here. Just death by 1,000 cuts at this point, I think. They might go for like a Rampart, which would make sense. Sounds good. So we don't have any tutor targets anymore for Zen, but I think that's still fine. Let's go ahead and Sacred Art, gain our resource, and I think we're probably just... Well, we could pitch a Tiger, or alternatively pitch the E-Strike. I think either is fine. I think we'll pitch a Tiger. Seems like it's just going to strip their hand here. Like maybe they go to 1 off of this. Oh, maybe they have another react here. Oh, maybe they just had heart. That also makes sense. Maybe they're trying to set up for a big crippling crush, but like we still have the ability to like block 6 and then also block 3 and also block 4. So pretty good stuff. I think that we maybe had a ways to go towards Cosmic, but like I don't think they're applying enough pressure with like they had 2 crippling crushes, I guess, left in deck, but like I don't think that's enough to necessarily close out the game. So pretty good game to, I guess, just showcase one of Zen's strengths, which historically he's been very good against CYB decks, which got to get to showcase against here. We haven't played against the CYB deck in a while, so I think that pretty good for like a time capsule to show like one of his strong suits, which is he's just not fatigable with Cosmic in the deck. Like you're gonna apply enough pressure to get them out of cards, and then you're going to end on Cosmic. So very, very hard to fatigue his end. All right, let's see if we can get one last one. All right, this is also a pretty good matchup for the time capsule. So we're running AB1, so the best, there's only one real strat for this matchup, and that's that. All right, we got a Florian. This is actually probably a good matchup for the time capsule as well. So I always tend to go second in Florian, no AB. And I think I run like a singular snag just because I need it as a blue. I think you could also run a flick flock if you want to be safe, but I think snag is also like kind of reasonable into Florian. Yeah, run it like this. See how it goes. Maybe I'll get punished for snag one day, but I've not yet gotten punished for it. It's like surprisingly okay into like felling and plow. That's what I found. And it's also transcend starter. All right, pretty okay hand. Nothing crazy, I don't think. Probably just gonna start with some rune chance to pass, if I had to imagine. And it fruits. Seems good to me. I think we're just doing East Strike. Could do East Strike Go again, or we could do East Strike buff. What's better? So the problem with East Strike Go again is then we play out Aspect, which means you have one less Aspect. Maybe using the first Aspect is like fine though. It's only 1 more damage. It's fine. Maybe they'll do something weird here. Still just want to Arsenal and Screen. If they don't have Face Purgatory me, I'm also like fine with that. Seems good. I do, especially with this version of the deck, I do like to try to save my chase aspects together if I can. But sometimes you don't always get that luxury. I feel like getting the extra point of damage may matter in the grand scheme of things. Hard to say. Ooh, we kind of almost got a Cosmic. Not quite. Feels like this is probably just going to be a double transcend turn, depending on what their disruption is. And this is one of the kind of prime examples of like why Zen is so strong, especially in the cards like CNCs, because if you manage to set up this particular like combo, like of any transcend card plus a transcend card in Arsenal, you basically just dodge a CNC like this. Unfortunately, we will give it Go again, which might matter. They might be able to swing like Reaping Blade or something. I think I am a-okay with that if I can get 2 transcend cards in hand. So pretty solid for us. Now we're probably just going to end up getting maybe something like Swipe here. But we'll start by pitching here. Let's grab... Swipe's fine. We're also going to have the Shuko buff, so maybe we don't need Swipe. Maybe we can just get the Pouncing instead. Right, Pouncing seems fine. Go ahead and do Tiger. Fish with the Breed, and then end on Censor, which is actually pretty good into Florian, just because you can name like random stuff. You can rename like Felling, Plow. I feel like there are a bunch of actually pretty good cards to name into Florian. It's gonna be a little bit awkward here because we're going off an Arsenal, but having an Arsenal into Earth Heroes is not that crazy to begin with. Right, and then finish on Censor. 4-card hand. I feel like the only logical thing would be channel Millennium Tree. How do I Millennium? Channel them. Maybe I spelled that wrong. But I feel like that's normally the best way for Florians to go wide. So I'm curious to see if our name works here. All right, playing Sigil of Findle. That is a card I have not seen since the draft chaff of Rosetta. Meaning your action phase destroys from the Sleeves Arena, gain 1. Interesting. Okay, Arcane Seeds, pretty good. Oh, another Arcane Seed's also quite good. I like seeing Arcane Seeds a lot more now versus later in the game. I think this is fine. We just have a levels turn, and that's like not a very damage efficient turn, I feel like. So I'm okay to take a little bit of damage here. I think could also develop out the pouncing pause or just block with it so that we can get our first chase resolved. I think that might be worth it, but I also do like just keeping this around for disruption. They've used one CNC. They could use another. I think we'll take it here. I don't think there's a real rush for me to play chase aspect. It's definitely pretty good to do before Barkskin, though. All right, go ahead and do levels transcend. Ooh, if I just stir the pot, I think I'll try to save that for next turn and get rid of the 100 wins. And since we already have an arsenal target, I'm probably just going to go for buff on this. If we go for face purgatory, do we care? A little bit, but I think it's still fine. Do draw, or we'll do buff, go. Seems fine. They want a purgatory by mauling. Oh, this is like a terrible purgatory. We'll just get rid of Tiger then. That's a lot better. And then we can do 2 into 5. Seems like they maybe wanted to just do it on the mauling there. I feel like mauling is the more logical thing because then you're discarding a real card guaranteed. But I'm pretty happy with that purgatory, even if our opponent's probably not. All right, Reaping Blade for 3. Also seems like they weren't able to fully maybe utilize that purgatory card. So I think we'll just take this here. Probably grab an aspect from the deck. Playing Sigil of Solace is very spicy. Seems a little bit anti-synergistic with the Reaping Blade, but not sure what they're cooking here. Maybe some kind of life gain Florian, especially with the Sigil Find all there. All right, let's grab the aspect. Yeah, Face Purgatory is rough for them just because like we get to discard a fake card and then they have to like overblock weird. I don't know about that. But we're in a pretty comfortable spot here. They're also keeping a 5-card hand. Curious to see what they'll do off the 5-card hand. Still, it's also have Traverse pause up, so we're in a pretty good spot, I think. They also have no Decompose, which is weird. That is very weird, actually. Is this like a Decomposeless Florian? That'd be kind of cool. All right, so more Deadwood Dirging, sure. I think now is probably the opportunity to just like throw our hand at them, so I think we'll block with Traverse now. They also still don't have Decompose, so their Barkskin's not live. So I think I'm more than fine with this. We are going to Cosmic, I think. Yeah, probably not. Not super efficient too. Grab our aspect. And then the second chase aspect gone. Yeah, unfortunately, they're not going to be able to get that value out of the Millennium Tree or the Barkskin of the Millennium Tree. I feel like I call Millennium Tree the other card, like the actual card version of what this is referring to. Yeah, the Malefics are. This almost tells me that this is maybe more of like a CMH Florian because CMH Florian's always on some like weird shit. I don't think CMH is actually that good in Florian right now. They got their first Decompose, which is good though. Definitely happy for them to see that. Ooh, another put into context. And I'm wondering what the idea for the build is here. Is this like a fatiguey Florian or something? Not entirely sure. Hopefully the CNC is annoying for them though. All right, seems like they're overblocking it too, which is also strange to me. But we will do our best here. All right, so this is okay. This is very similar to some other situations I found myself in with Snag, but it's actually kind of fine here. It just means we can't E-Strike buff, and like we can't get Key Unleash are like the two main perpetrators that make Snag bad. But let's go ahead and just use it as a blue instant speed transcend card that sometimes works against like Felling and Plow. A little bit suspect, but I think it's overall fine. Because it's actually funny here. Like, I don't think it's actually really impacting many of our cards. I could even go for the last chase here if we wanted to like really close out the game. It's like semi-reasonable. Play Stir, gain a resource, activate Zen. Could also just not play the E-Strike this turn. It's also reasonable. I think there are a lot of reasonable lines except for Key Unleashed. Swipe is also kind of bad, notably with Snag. I think Chase is probably fine here, though. What is Arsenal? The E-Strike for next turn? Means they're not bricking. And notably, because Chase applies the buff to another card, it means that it's not getting affected by Snag. Right, lots of blocks here. Seems good. All right, they finally got their embodiment online, but maybe a little bit too late. All right, another Reaping Blade. We don't block this. Not particularly. Maybe blocking with that swipe makes the most amount of sense, but we could also just bottom at the E-Strike, do 5, 3, 2, 5. Works for me. We'll go for this. All right, they finally got online. A little bit slow, honestly. Feels like they're maybe just not drawing their good decomposed cards. All right, 2 block is good for me. They'll probably just end up killing them here. Curious to see what their deck looks like after this. Trying to see the vision here from the opposite side. End on the buff. Might do have the root bound to stay alive, which is definitely good for them, but they're still not doing a ton. Let's go ahead and just send the full hand. This will basically threaten lethal. Yeah, lots of 2 blocks in this version of Florian they got going here. And then they're going to need a 4 block here to stay alive, and they're not going to be able to get tempo, probably. I do have a 4 block. It's the game that never ends, but that's okay. Seems like we found the path to victory here. Probably just end up getting a 1 cost if we have 1 left. See what we got. Yeah, we got plenty of stuff left. Let's go ahead and just grab Mulling. Should be more than enough here. 1, 3, 5. Pretty good. And yeah, seems like they're potentially off of it. So yeah, let's take a look at that Florian list. Very interesting. I feel like I maybe just saw the weird half of the Florian list and then didn't see like the Fellings, the Plows, or any of the good cards. But yeah, definitely a bit of a brew there. I'm curious, like, what is the Sigil Find All for? When this leaves the arena, gain 1. I don't see the vision behind this card because obviously, like, it's a blue 2 block. I guess the go again part's maybe nice. But beyond that, it's like seems a little bit dicey. I don't know. I feel like there are better blues than Sigil Final. All right, let's see if we can get maybe one last one. All right, we got an Aurora. Definitely one of the kind of more meta matchups. We'll go second. And then I think I'd have a different board for Aurora first and second. So I'm going to choose the second board, which is, I think, a little bit different. I think this version of the board is just a little bit more aggressive and cutting some like the CNC reacts and stuff. All right, they're running Zap Clappers plus Starlight Striders. I've not seen Starlight Strider. Sorry. All right, give them a good game. I've not seen Starlight Striders. What is this card? Feel an instant, create an embodiment. Seems pretty good. All right, starting with a Burn Up Shock. Assuming that they're going to have a way to get this go again, I guess I'll play around like Lightning Press specifically, though. Should be able to block most everything here. I think we're probably just going to flick this, just to kind of play around it. Yeah, I'm more than happy, I think, to just block with the full hand here. They want to give me filtering, I'm A-okay with that. Oh, seems like they just want to make an embodiment, also acceptable, and they're going off an arsenal, which is also a little strange to me. But it seems like I maybe played around the lightning press that they pitched there. All right, so yeah, 100 wins wins of eternity, which is a pretty good line. Alternatively, like play Gustway, but that also doesn't seem very good. I guess we'll go for the full 100 wins stream. Do 1, 4, 5. 3-card 10's good, and then we get to keep an arsenal. I think 3-card 10 is like not good, right? It's like fine, but it's passable, right? Definitely not a bad start to the game though if they're going off arsenal. And this is also why we potentially board out the CNCs, is just because Crown is in the most normal Aurora lists. All right, going for the clappers. Feeling impress. Okay with me. As long as it's not a CLB, I don't think I really mind. Maybe they just want to prevent the Winds of Eternia on hit, but Winds of Eternia on hit's like maybe even actively bad for Zen, because I don't want to like shuffle stuff back in my deck. Oh, this hand is painful. I think I know what the line is, but I don't know if I have the strength to do it. So unless they give me like a really good reason to block, I'm probably just going to end up pitching this preserve here. Oh, they're gonna press their exude on the stack. Makes sense to me. Don't think we're blocking anyway, so maybe we'll just give pause here. They have like a snatch, it's gonna be annoying. Maybe I probably should play around snatch, but that's probably fine. Yeah, maybe we could have played around snatch, but if they also pass, then I get the free value there. So we'll start with the car here, unfortunately pitching a chi. I think that this hand might just be barely good enough to where this is correct, but normally, like, see, if you pitching a chi this early in the game is like incredibly painful. But I think it's still correct here because we just get like, this is basically like a full transcend turn that we get without transcending. All we have to do is use pouncing paws here, which I'm kind of fine with. I think we're also sending the 0 for 4 from Arsenal. Also for the time capsule, I guess, Gust Wave of the Second Wind notably does not do anything in Zen. I wanted to make that very clear. This card is just a 0 for 4 combo card, but the stat line's very good. Just 0 for 4, 3 block. Kind of fills a very nice niche in Zen. All right, Sigil Suffering, obviously quite good, but not as good on their, not as good without CLV, obviously. 0 for 5 instead of like 0 for 9, right? A little bit better. It's definitely a risk you take by not playing AB, but I think that paying AB into Aurora is generally inefficient. So I think if you're paying into AB against her, like, you're probably not doing the best. Yeah, but the Transcend card pitch here is definitely a little unfortunate, I will say. I wonder if there's maybe a line where we just like block with Chased Aspect instead and just try to like keep it or whatever. All right, so they clearly don't have a CLV, so there's no real incentive to try to block this, because if they had a CLV, they would have done it like probably last turn on the Sigil Suffering. So I think we're probably just taking this here. I think we're doing 2 into 7. Might need to send 7, depending on what they got. All right, Starfall quite good. Going to be some good chip damage here. All right, 1 card in hand in Exude. I feel like we just want to send 7 and then like Arsenal Harmony, because like we need to have a Transcend Sorter at some point for this game, right? All right, go ahead and buff this at them. Hopefully they don't have CLV Sigil. They do. It's a shame. Fortunately, we can also make this play because they have Crown of Providence, which is nice. If they were on Face Purgatory, we could not do this play, and I think Face Purgatory is definitely quite solid into Zen right now. It seems like they're blocking with the Star Striders having it discharge in hand. Definitely see a lot more people, I feel like, have the Snapdragon or whatever. This hand is very good, though, by the way. All right, seems like they're going to go for Gaia Flash Me plus Electrostack, so they're going to get a decent amount of value out of that. Like, basically almost like a 2-card 11 here. That's quite strong, but we do have Transcend, and Transcend is very strong in and of itself. Yep, so it seems like that's what they're going to do. Here's what their last card in hand is. Rav Rav is also quite solid. Oh, revealing a blue. Okay, I was very confused for a second because normally Rav has a base power 5, but when they reveal like a no cost off the top, then it gets the full 5. So I was like, wait, why is this coming in for 5? But it came in for 2, and then they're revealing the discharge, and then they're going to end on Gone Flash, which makes sense. So a little bit of a low roll from our opponent there, but not too bad. And then this is the hand that we're basically going to try to convert on. So fortunately, we found another Transcend card. It's definitely a little bit dicey whether or not we would have there. I think I'm going to save Harmony for next turn, though, because it's pretty likely that we'll get the full value out of it. Let's go ahead and get swipe and do draw. Or let's do buff go, actually. We already have an arsenal, so it's kind of weird. I maybe should have like just played this out ahead of time and try to YOLO. Right, seems like we got an 8 somersault here. Somersault being a 6 block is like insane, by the way. Every time I like see this card block 6, it's like, why is this a 0 for 4 that blocks 6? It's kind of crazy. I guess I get hand information, which is sometimes worth something into Aurora, but not a ton. So they have a Gone and Flash and a Current Funnel. Blocking with the Current Funnel, probably gonna send Gone, or maybe just Filter. Also acceptable. Pretty even if you kind of consider the armor differentials here. We also are coming in for 5, so pretty likely we're going to be able to capitalize our next hand. Almost wonder if they try to block here and just like deny traverse value. That might honestly be a pretty good strat. Alright, seems like they're going to go for a draw card here. Fortunately, this hand really doesn't use traverse block super well. It's still fine. Like, we can filter and maybe get like a key unleash or something, but not super happy about this whole situation going on here. I think that's what we'll do, though. We'll probably just block flick, and then like we already have a Transcend card, so getting another Transcend card is not incredibly helpful. Probably start with the Harmony, see what we hit, and then that's a pretty good hit. This is why I'm one of the best players in the game. I will be remembered as the best Ancestral Harmony hitter of all time. And then we'll... sorry, whoops. As I say, I'm the best player of the game. I immediately make a misplay. Go ahead and win Chakra first, and then we'll do Chase Aspect here. Still have a Chase Aspect, right? Yeah, we still have 2 left in the deck. Pretty solid here. Nice little 4-5-4-4. It's pretty annoying. There's always a chance that they can like block out and we brick, but generally a little bit unlikely. Fortunately, we also haven't seen any CLVs from them, which is obviously one of the kind of power cards that Aurora has at this point. Their exudes are also not super insane, which I think is like part of the appeal of the Flick Flack package over like the wax on wax off stuff, is that you just get to be a little bit more flexible. You have less reacts, but the reacts are more powerful, it feels like. Baking Zen State's obviously quite good, but it's like very committal. Like you have to run, what is it? Basically 10 reacts in your deck, whereas this version is only running, I think, 7 or 8, maybe. Wow, and you actually managed to kind of kill them without Traverse there, which is kind of insane. Normally Traverse is like obviously your power card, right? But yeah, if you manage to like just find Chi every turn, like you don't really need Traverse because it doesn't really add a lot more damage on top of like what you already have. But I think that was a pretty good series of games to be our last kind of series of Zen games. So we played against some weird shit. We played against like a weird Florian list and like a weird Bravo list, but like a semi-reasonable Aurora list. And I think for the most part, like this is gonna be just like my final iteration of Zen, which is very sad. I took this to 2 pro quests. I won, or sorry, I took this to 2 pro quests and then I top 8'd both of them, which is really cool. I think that this version of the deck is very cool, just very flexible. It's running a lot of fun cards. I got a Cosmic off for 20 in one of, or at least 2 of my games during today's pro quest, which is really cool. So I'm happy to kind of have my memories of Zen kind of end on this iteration of the list, which I think is running a lot of cards that I was running just like when I first started playing Zen, like when I was playing the Bonds of Ancestry stuff. I think my first ProQuest winning list was running 3 Censor, which is a card that is, I don't know, fan favorite card for me, especially in just like weird shit like Zen. Like I think the stat line is just really cool, and then the effect is really cool and skill intensive and stuff like that. Just a very solid card. And then I don't know, I just love Zen. This deck is like so cool. I kind of almost feel like there's not really a similar deck in the game to this one. It's just so complex, so weird. Like you can just have a bunch of like weird niche scenarios come up, like on turn 0 if you have like Preserved Tradition, and then like let's say, trying to come up with a good example, like let's say you have like Preserved Tradition and then like Passover as both your Transcend cards in your opening hand, but your opponent and you don't have any like graveyard set up, and it's like, oh, I can't play these. Like that's super awkward. Like there's a bunch of like fun things to all these like legendary Transcend cards that I hope that they kind of do something with in the future. Like there's so much fun with this particular design, and especially like Drop in the Ocean also is like super awkward. Like sometimes you'll have to like play it on your own thing, like a levels or something, to like some of these have like actual drawbacks, which is really cool. Like sometimes you path will travel your opponent's thing and that's a draw. Like there's so many like drawbacks and also benefits for you. It's like there's a lot of like weird complex micro decisions that I hope that they kind of like continue this trend of doing, which is like, I think it makes the games a lot more interesting. And I think that the variants that these add is not just like bad variants because you're always happy to see a Transcend card. It's like, I think it's just a good variance in terms of like skill testing and like deck building and stuff like that. So I don't know, I love the kind of like design of this hero. Just so many fun things. I think that Traverse, obviously probably not like the best design card of all time, but like the shuffling that this does is like probably the coolest part. Like I hate that it tutors a chi. I almost just wish this was like 2-block shuffle. And yeah, this deck is just so cool. I don't know, this is probably going to be my favorite deck in any card game, so I'll definitely be a little bit sad to see it go, but also I think at some point you do get a little bit sick of resolving chase aspects. So thank you all for, I guess, watching all the chase aspects I think I've resolved over the past like couple months. It's definitely kind of cool that I basically kind of built a little community on YouTube for Zen, like as one of the only people who kind of like played Zen. So I don't know, thank you all for kind of like being with me on this Transcend journey to kind of like play this hero and like get better at it and try to master it. I don't know, this hero is so complex that I feel like I still haven't fully mastered it, and maybe I never will. But I do feel like I feel like I got to the point where I almost mastered this hero, right? Like, I don't think I'll ever be like a perfect Zen player. I made my fair share of misplays. You can see the misplays are there. But I think that for the most part, I feel like I got a really good understanding of this hero, and I was able to kind of like make my mark on him, especially throughout the history of Zen. So that's kind of cool. Yeah, but I think that's going to be the last Zen gameplay video, unfortunately. If you want to see more Zen content, though, we have a very big video planned, so feel free to stay tuned to the channel for that. We'll find a new deck to play at some point, and again, not all is lost. I think that while this deck is really cool, I think it's time for a change as well. So I'll definitely be on the lookout for whatever my next deck will be. I want to try to commit to it basically as hard as I committed to Zen as well. So yeah, thank you all for watching as always. I know that all of us here are going to miss Zen very dearly, and some people are not going to miss Zen very dearly, which is also okay. But thank you all for watching as always, and I'll see you all next time. And a special thank you to all the folks who decided it would be a good idea to give us $2 on Patreon. We really appreciate the support, but it's obviously never required.